Before I get to the boom, I know you want to know what it is, but I've seen in comments how, some of you are like, PD sound like a trip. PD was a trip. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit more of the backstory before I get to the boom. So PD was the type of friend of my then husband who, he always was the one that had the barbecues, the spades games, the dominoes game, the loud music, called himself a ladies' man. I guess technically he was, in a way, for those who liked Petey and his baby mama at the time. Petey used to come over to the house all the time. And what happened was, and I didn't catch on at first, he used to come over about 30 minutes or so before my then husband used to get off from work. And it just didn't register to me, right? And I'm like, well, he's not here, but, you could come back if you want. So he would make small talk at the door. So eventually I would invite him in, but not invite him in with me thinking nothing, because I'm like, okay, he's about to be home anyway. So, and I never got questioned why Petey was there. I guess it was just like, Petey's here, right? So one day, the matron of honor who I was telling you about was actually over, right? Then, I'm good and pregnant with my first child. And, he comes over, she's there. So hey, let Petey in. Now, when Petey comes in, he actually propositions us both. Can y'all believe that? Propositions us both. I'm thinking, now, Petey, this is why you've been trying to come over this whole time? Now, the matron of honor, you do know that the matron of honor means that you're married already, right? So, again, this was someone from work I'd known previously. She's married, a little older. Everyone's a little older than me anyways in this whole entire situation. And she actually takes him up on the proposition. I was like, what? Well, lo and behold, they have whatever on the side. And you know what happens after that? Petey actually gets her sister pregnant. I know. Couldn't make it up if I tried. After all that happened, I had to tell my then husband, listen, if you want to be friends with Petey, I guess that's cool. You knew him before you knew me. But, he just can't come over to the house when you're not here. So, make sure to page you, because pages was still in at the time. If you had a cell phone, you was really doing it, because cell phones then in the early 90s was I guess it was like the Apple prices then, in the 90s, and nobody was paying that. So you were still getting paged, if you know what I mean. Again, that was the end of Petey, but the matron of honor, her and her sister, that is another story time. Okay, so back to the boom. Yes, I got pregnant that same night. And I just knew it. Now, whether it was on purpose, I don't know. But the boom again was Cassandra or Millennial. And, to be honest, at that time of my life, I already knew, if you listen to part one, that it was time for me to transition, to go ahead and be that mom, the single mom, the baby mom, whatever the cliches were at the time, which is still kind of there. But whatever it was then, it didn't matter, because, like I mentioned, when you know, you know. So how he felt about it was he wanted to maintain a family. He came from a home of a single parent where he happened to be the second oldest of 10. So at that time, the youngest in his family was 2 or 3 or something like that. So he was trying to explain to me why he wanted to keep the family intact. Okay. Even after learning that I was pregnant. And I had some things to consider, because like I said, I was really ready to go. And you know what? After some serious soul searching from within me, and I was like, okay, maybe with the right counseling, maybe the right direction, we can get this to work. So I continued to stay for a little while longer, and I'll let you know how much longer at the end, but I stayed. I ended up getting my nursing degree. I finished when I was 6 months pregnant with Cassandra, licensed 3 months after. By this time, my son was 4 years old. I was working in the nursing field. And you know what? That feeling kept on coming, kept coming. It never went away. And the moment I realized that this was no longer this marriage, the the family, and I don't want to say facade. It was when the kids had their 2nd and 6th birthdays. Now, their birthdays are actually 2 days apart. And I was at the party and I was thinking, nope, I just can't continue. I honestly can't continue. Literally, after the birthday party, after we all went home, I had the conversation with him, my then husband, let him know, I know we tried. I know we did it for the kids, but I can't do this anymore. And I'm going to go ahead and file for divorce. So I did let him know I was going to file. Now, we could have still been friendly about this. We could have been cordial. But you know what happened? It was as if I dropped a bomb. In a way I did, I guess. Because then he just changed into a completely different person. I mean, he started to get like mad, rude, condescending, just started doing all kind of stuff like as if, I don't know, but it was just not right. It wasn't cool. And I definitely didn't want the kids to see anything like that was going on. So I packed up the kids, actually moved in with my parents for 4 months. He actually, while he was doing all that, I learned that he actually moved in with another woman who he later married. So you were doing all this and you end up doing all that, and he got married within a year of the divorce. But back to me, moved in with my parents, had to start over, had to figure out where we're going to move to, what house were we going to get, what side of town, schools, all this stuff. And let me tell you something, that transition, even though as much as I wanted to go, was the hardest thing I had to go through, because every day they asked me, where's dad? Where's daddy? Where's daddy? You know what one thing Cassandra said to me? She asked me if her dad ran away. Now, how do you answer a 2.5-year-old? Did their dad run away? And of course, the answer was no, because I never, ever talked down on their dad. Not once. Saying all that, I know now from point A when I started, really at 18, till I had my first child, to Cassandra, to filing the divorce the first time, to finishing nursing school, to where I am now, being married 10 years, that was half my life ago. We got through it. And as a young parent to a middle-aged parent, I look at it as me, CJ, Cassandra, we are the 3 musketeers. I feel we have bonded. In a lot of ways, I grew up with my children. I truly did. I learned a lot along the way. And I know now that that's one reason why I feel like I had to have a tight rein on them. I know some people still, some friends of mine think that maybe I may still have a little tight rein, but I just think it's maybe a respect factor as their mom, just seeing the things I went through. They weren't bad things, but it's fact, again, like we grew up together, it was funny to know that some of my son's friends when he was in high school actually thought I was like his sister. But I'm not saying because I look young, but I'm just saying because, the age difference is not very large, so there's lots of things I learned along the way. You have a young son, daughter, niece, or nephew, it's never too late. They can turn it around, but I always knew within me that I wanted more out of life for me. So once again, that connection to that rated love story with Danny is what drew me into story times. Now, to wrap it all up, what happened to my then husband? He's been married 3 times since me, but hey, that's his life and a different story time. What happened to Petey? That's another story time too. I ran into him a couple years ago. And what happened to my matron of honor? That is also story time, and she's still with her husband. Now, what happened to her sister? She's in New York now with other children. That is also story time. So, thank you all for watching. I can't wait to read your comments this time around. Don't forget to like this video, comment, and subscribe. Don't forget our Ready to Love videos are out every Saturday. We're looking forward to the upcoming reunion as well. And as always, live simply, be grateful.